Are y'all ready to hear Tiana's side of the story? And if you're wondering, okay, who is Tiana, what side of the story, this is a continuation of my previous video called Her Best Friend Hexed Her. In summary, that video was about a young lady who had a friend for a very long time. Eventually, she noticed over time, anytime that she would mention something good or something that she wanted to do to this friend, it would magically not happen. But when she decided to keep some stuff to herself, thanks to the tips from her hoodoo mom, she noticed things started to happen in her favor, and that bothered the friend Tiana. And you can take from that video, make sure you go watch it so you can know the examples I'm referring to, because this is just going to be piggybacking from that. You could tell from some of the examples, Tiana had something going on that was a little bit suspicious, because the way everything occurred was a little bit odd. So let's get Tiana's side of the story. And I wanted to share this story because this is my first time ever actually seeing someone confess to hexing someone and being apologetic for it and actually regretting it. So we get to see what was she thinking, what was she going through, what was her mindset, what was her motive, and use this as a warning for our own personal relationships as well. Use it as a warning. Don't get paranoid or overly suspicious, okay? Just use it as a warning. So of course, with the two being friends for a long time, they knew each other's families. Courtney knew Tiana's mom, Tiana knew Courtney's mom, the cousins, the uncles, any type of get together they would have, they'll make sure that they're in attendance. So the families were familiar with the two. Now for Tiana, her mom loved Courtney. Like, you know, when you have a good friend and your mom is like, you know what, keep that one around. That's a good friend. That's someone you're supposed to hang around. That's how Tiana's moms felt about Courtney. So she felt comfortable inviting Courtney over. She knew if her mom was at work, she could have Courtney come by the house, and when her mom got home from work, she would not mind if she seen Courtney. Now any other little friend, she gonna be like, who you got in my house? But Courtney was just like family. And that's how she took it for a while. She was happy that she had a friend that she could always be around, have a good time with, and also that her mom liked as well. But around the time in high school, Tiana stated that she noticed that this like for Courtney that her mom had seemed a little bit in spite of her. She noticed that every time she would get in trouble, or if she did fail a test, she'll immediately ask, oh, you failed the test? What did Courtney get on the test? Did she fail too? Even when Tiana wanted to start running track and she had to have her parents sign a form, get a physical and all that stuff, her mom asked her, you sure you don't want to cheer with Courtney? Like, you get to go to all the games, you get to wear your cute uniform. And Tiana's like, no, I want to run track. I kind of been running since I was little. Or let's just say Tiana wanted to go to the movies with her other friends. Her mom would immediately ask, is Courtney going? Now, sometimes she would just take this as, I just want you to have someone familiar there. I know Courtney, she'll look out for you. She got your back. I know her parents, that's an extra set of adult eyes that's looking out for you. But other times, she would take this as a slight to her. Like, why is my mom always bringing up Courtney with anything I want to do or anything I accomplish? Or if they all went to one of the award ceremonies I was telling you about that Courtney always had to attend, or a gala, her mom would talk about Courtney the whole ride home. Oh, she looked so beautiful. I'm so proud of her. Oh, they raised a good kid. You see, that's how a young lady should act. She's going to be so successful. And that was not only coming from her mom, but the people at school as well. They would, I'm not sure if it was intentional. Tiana doesn't know if it was intentional, but they would just compare them. Like, they just expected them to always do the same thing and perform the same way. If Courtney was a cheerleader, they wanted Tiana to be a cheerleader. If Courtney was valedictorian, they expected for Tiana to be salutatorian. Like, they always expected some type of pairing going on. But it seems like no matter what they did, if they were in a competition together, ever since pre-K, racing on a playground, having coloring contests, who's going to get selected to decorate the bulletin board in the middle school hallway, it seemed to always be Courtney. And that did not bother Tiana at first until people kept drawing attention to it. And even Tiana admitted that Courtney was the more likable one, just because she was more friendly, more spunky, and Tiana was more to herself. She was still nice, still cordial, but she wasn't she wasn't a people's person like Courtney was. So that automatically made people favor Courtney more. And she said at first the comparisons didn't bother her because she expected, like, okay, you guys know we're best friends. We mostly do the same thing anyway, so you guys are going to compare us. But eventually, hearing it from her mom at home, then going to school and hearing the comparisons, it started to annoy her. And of course, Tiana had things that she would win. Like, of course, if it's a track competition, Tiana got it. If it's anything athletic, Tiana got it. If it's anything dealing with math, Tiana got it. But it always seemed like Courtney had a little bit more. Nothing so grand to the point where Tiana felt like it was unobtainable for herself, but enough for the comments from others to get on her nerves. So she found it hard because she was fighting between, okay, this is my friend, I love her, I'm actually happy she's getting this stuff, but dang, can everybody be quiet? Like, why are y'all always comparing me to this girl? Like, we're two different people. Everybody knew her. It went from us just sitting at the lunch table to everybody wanted to sit at our lunch table. Everybody always wanted to be around her, and everybody would make sly comments, whether they were trying to be nice or mean, comparing us. So this is the moment where things started to take a turn, and Tiana noticed that the annoyance from the comparisons started to turn into hatred and a little bit of envy. She wanted people to look at her how they looked at Courtney. Just, hey, Tiana won this competition, or you know what, Tiana's gonna win that. And now that Tiana is older, she identifies this upcoming moment as the moment where she noticed that she started to put some things into her own hands, we'll say. So remember how in my first video I told you that Courtney was supposed to win prom queen, right? So let's rewind and go to Tiana's point of view. It's prom season. A lot of people are elected, so Tiana naturally thought, like, okay, me and Courtney are popular. We're both going to get elected. More than likely, she's going to win because everyone's going to be expecting her to win, so everyone's going to vote for her. So one day at the closing of school for the afternoon announcements, the principal announces the prom queen electees. We have Courtney Stewart. We have Kayla McCoy. We have Ashley Robs. We have Veronica Steels. I'm just making up names. And we have Jessica Wild. Tiana did not hear her name. So of course in the moment she wanted to be happy for Courtney. Courtney was elected. She's in the running. But Tiana's like, how in the world was I not elected? Why am I not in the running? But she's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's prom. It's senior year. All of this is about to be wrapped up anyway. I'm going to help her campaign. But during the campaign, she noticed Courtney was really going in. Like, she was so excited about it and she was so passionate, staying up all night, inviting her over to come and help. And Tiana was excited too, but in the back of her head, she's like, you know you don't have to do all this. Like, you're going to win. Like, because she was so used to Courtney winning everything. So she's like, girl, you really could just not even do this. Like, you're going to get it. So Tiana stated that she did put in a full effort to help Courtney campaign. Every little flyer she passed out. Every little button she passed out. Whatever trinkets Courtney had, she was passing out in her free time. She skipped lunch for a few days just to make sure like her name was spread across the class so people can vote for her. So now it's prom night. They're having a good time for the night. They're dancing, they're eating, they're drinking a little drinks. Of course, it's like Kool-Aid and juice. But it's time for them to announce the prom queen. And when she sees how nervous Courtney is, she's trying to like adjust herself because a piece of Courtney thought, I think I got this in the bag too. So she's making sure Courtney's hair is okay. Like, so when she goes on stage, everything is just landing perfectly. Her picture's going to turn out nice. And then the woman announces the 2008 prom queen is, what name did I use before? Kayla McCoy. So Tiana's staring at the stage like, what in the world? Because even she was expecting for Courtney to win. She looked over to Courtney. She saw her head drop a little. She saw her shoulders drop. But then she immediately adjusted herself and started clapping and complimenting Kayla as she walked to the stage. She saw how disappointed Courtney was, but she couldn't help but realize she was so disappointed, but a piece of me was satisfied. I would love to say I was sad and pissed and how in the world did Kayla win, even though I was really thinking how in the world did Kayla win. But a piece of me was like, finally, she's humbled. So that night, Tiana went home to her mom and she was showing her mom the pictures that they took on her little Canon camera. So she's going through all of them and her mom asks, oh, so they didn't put a crown on her? Because even her mom was assuming Courtney was going to win prom queen. And Tiana said, no, she didn't win. And her mom was like, what? Courtney didn't win? Are you serious? She immediately went to the house phone and started calling Courtney's mom because she was so sad and disappointed because she knew how much work they put in. And then in that moment as well, Tiana felt bad that she wasn't feeling as bad as her mom. She's like, this is my best friend, but yet my mom is on the verge of tears because she is imagining how disappointed Courtney is. And Tiana said, I was sitting there on the couch showing my mom pictures of our prom night, and the moment she found out that Courtney did not win, she got up from the couch to call Courtney's mom on my prom night. So she's getting ready for bed, but going through her head, she's feeling bad. Like, why didn't I feel bad that Courtney didn't win? Why am I not feeling guilty or sad or a little bit thrown off? And what is this random feeling of satisfaction and slight happiness that I'm getting? So Tiana, she's trying to dissect her emotions because she's like, Yeah, we always get compared to each other, but Courtney never treated me any different. She didn't treat me like I was less than. She still gave me opportunities. We still had a good time. That's still my friend, but yet I feel this sense of glee that she didn't win prom queen. So then those thoughts of why am I feeling like this started to gradually lean towards the thoughts that were saying, that's what she gets. Finally, that'll show people that Courtney don't win everything. I hope this teaches her that she can't get everything she wants. I'm glad she's feeling sad. Finally, she didn't win something out of the 4 years of being in high school. You can't compare us now. I wasn't even elected and she didn't win. I don't have to go to school next week hearing, oh, Courtney's prom queen, Courtney's prom queen. She said that she finally felt like they were on an even playing field and a piece of her wanted it to stay that way. So let's pause right here, do a little bit of dynamic work. Tiana's mom hopped up to call Courtney's mom because they were friends as well. Of course, they knew each other since pre-K, so they were going on play dates. The moms got close and they became friends. Like I said, Courtney's mom is hoodoo down. Tiana's mom is hoodoo down as well. That's one of the things that they had in common and why the girls became so close too, because they knew like, hey, we practice like the same thing, like we kind of get it. So Tiana was familiar with hoodoo work a little bit more than Courtney, just because Tiana was actually working with her mom, was her assistant. So she constantly seeing clients coming through, her giving suggestions for them, her doing all type of rituals and workings for them. So she constantly was in the mix. So she knew a few things, how to do a few things, not to the T, not that good, but she got the gist of certain things. It's now time to prep for graduation and prep for going off to college. The girls already applied to the schools that they wanted to go to. So now it was a talks of, okay, I think I'm gonna go to this class, I think I'm gonna go to this class. Oh, this professor seems nice, this professor seems nice. And again, since Tiana knew Courtney since she was in pre-K, of course, ever since middle school, she's been hearing about this specific school in North Carolina that she wants to go to. She knew that was her dream school, but Tiana knew she wanted to go to a HBCU in Georgia, but she knew it wasn't that far of a drive if they really wanted to see each other. So at first she was okay with it, but then she couldn't get over the satisfaction that she felt that Courtney didn't win prom queen. Like, it's something so simple, but it felt so gratifying to her that she couldn't let go of that feeling. As they're sitting down at lunch, she's hearing Courtney go on and on about how she's going to decorate her dorm. And so Tiana's like, yeah, that's going to be cute, girl. Yeah, pink will look so cute. That she's being supportive, but in the back of her head, she's like, girl, you're decorating your dorm for a school you haven't even been accepted to yet? Like, you're so entitled. How dare you think you're automatically going to get in? Did she not learn her lesson from prom? You can't get what you want all the time. So Tiana was thinking she needs to be humbled. Like, how dare you think you could just get whatever you want? Life doesn't work like that. So a few days pass. Tiana is still annoyed at the fact that Courtney just feels like she's going to get into this school without a problem. So she's having a conversation with her mom. Of course, college comes up because time is winding down. And then she's like, yeah, I want to go to this school in Georgia. I feel like it's really nice. They're known for the major I'm going into, blah, blah, blah. She's explaining it to her mom. And her mom was like, oh, yeah, I feel like that'll be a good choice for you. I feel like you'll do good there. That's a nice campus. I heard a lot about it. And then her mom says, I am going to miss you, though. Are you sure you don't want to stay in state like Courtney? You guys still can hang out and be friends, and you could be with your mom. Then Tiana told her mom, no, I want to do my own thing. I can't always just be stuck to Courtney's hip. Courtney's mom is like, no, Tiana, I didn't mean it like that. I just know college is different. It could be a bit overwhelming. It'll be nice to have someone that you know, that you're familiar with. You could have an easier time on campus, and especially with someone who knows what they're doing. And Tiana said, Mom, I know what I'm doing as well. And then Tiana's mom is like, let me stop talking. I feel like this is coming across the wrong way. And then Tiana's like, yeah, stop talking. She said that to her mom. Then she goes to her room and she's replaying the conversation in her head. She's like, go to school with Courtney. Do what Courtney does. Courtney knows what she's doing. And then she's like, well, what if Courtney doesn't even get into the school? Then Tiana's like, she can't get accepted. She can't. I refuse to hear it. Every time I call my mom, she's talking about how I should have stayed in state. And Courtney's doing this and Courtney's doing that. And Courtney's in band and she's doing blah, blah, blah. Then Tiana's like, well, how am I going to stop her from getting accepted? So remember in my first video, I told you that Courtney and her mom was planning like an open letter ceremony for when she opens all her acceptance or denial letters. Like they were inviting the family over, having friends. So Courtney is starting to prepare for that. She's buying decorations. She's getting the school logo printed out on a poster because she's just ready to get her acceptance letter, take a picture in front of the wall decor she has. So when Tiana goes over Courtney's house and she sees all this paraphernalia and merchandise from the college she wants to go to, Tiana's like, what is all this for? And then Courtney's like, oh, this is the decoration for the acceptance party. Tiana says, acceptance party? Did you already get accepted? And Courtney's like, no, but I'm just thinking positive, and I'm just thinking, like, why wouldn't they want me? I did good in school. I got the SAT scores. Like, I'm doing all this and that. She's not thinking she's going to get accepted because she's just used to getting what she wants. She's thinking she's going to get accepted because everything I've been doing with academics, extracurricular activities, any certifications has been all to go to this school. So she's kind of like, what would be your reason not to accept me when I have everything on paper that you asked for and more? So Courtney invited Tiana over just to show her, like, oh yeah, I got this, I got these stickers, I got these buttons, I got this shirt. So like when I open up the letter, I can put this shirt on, and I have this hat, so I can wear the hat too, and I could just have cute pictures. My mom's gonna hang the picture on the wall that she's eventually gonna put it next to my diploma when I graduate from the school. And Courtney's like, you know what, if you want these stickers for your school that you're going to, you could get them cheap. I got them from this place. I had so and so make this. They could make it with your school logo. So Courtney's trying to pair it, like, you should do the same thing and use the people I got all this merchandise from. And then Tiana's like, no, I'm not doing all that. Like, it's fine. Okay, but it'll be fun if we kind of have like a pairing type of party where we both open our letters at the same time. And then Tiana's like, no, but you know what? I'll take a sticker, then I'll wear the sticker to the party. And Courtney's like, fine, but don't wear it until the party. Keep it safe. So when Tiana gets home, her mom is working with the client. They wrap up, say goodbye, blah, blah, blah. Tiana's mom is headed off to bed. So in the middle of the night, Tiana goes to her mom's little room that she has set up for when her clients come over, have all her materials, where she prays, where she does all her workings. And she's looking through her material and she grabs a jar. She goes to the kitchen, she opens up the refrigerator, and she grabs a lime. She's trying to be quiet because if her mom comes down to see her doing any type of ritualistic work, she's going to be like, girl, what are you doing? You stay away from this. You don't do this unless I'm near. So Tiana opens up her jar. I believe I was saying glass jar. It's just a clear jar. Tiana opens up the jar. She puts all of her material in, the lime she used, the stuff she used with the lime. Her petition was basically like a written manifesto of what you want to happen in the spell. For the last ingredient, Tiana took the sticker that Courtney gave her for her acceptance party, and she wrote Courtney's full name and date of birth on the sticker. She placed it in the jar, twisted the jar, and put it in the freezer. And yes, basically this is a combo of a freezer spell and a lime spell. Simplified, the freezer spell is basically, people use it for different reasons in a variety of different ways, different materials, but usually the overall goal is to stop someone or pause them from doing something without causing physical harm to them. And Tiana's motive behind this, she made sense of it in the moment. Now that she's older, she realized it was BS, but her motive in the moment was, just give me time to catch up. Have enough failures where people can stop comparing me and you. Let life hit you in the ass. Let's get rid of some of that entitlement that you have for you just going to get everything you want, and let me catch up. Like, we're friends, we're about to go to different colleges. I still value you as a friend, but the comparisons are driving me insane. And you're getting things faster and quicker than I'm getting them, and I don't want to fall behind. So a couple weeks pass, and it's now time for Courtney's acceptance party. So they're eating, they're having a good time, and then now Courtney's like, okay, I'm about to open the letter, and it says, Dear Courtney, thank you for applying to blah 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 university. However, at the time we have you on a waiting list. If anything changed, we'll be sure to contact you. So basically, like I said in my first video, she gets put on the waiting list. Of course, everyone in the room is like, what? A waiting list? They're shocked. They're trying to figure out, where did this come from? They never heard of that before. Usually it's a yes or a no. She has family members trying to comfort her because they could see she's disappointed. So Tiana is sitting there and she's in shock too. Not in shock because she's sad that her friend didn't get into the school. She's shocked because her freezer spell actually worked. Because there's no way that Courtney shouldn't have gotten into that school. So she's sitting there shocked, like, oh my God, it worked. Then a small smirk comes across her face, but she stops it immediately and she looks around to see, did anybody see her? And then guess who she sees and makes eye contact with her? Courtney's mom, who was sitting in the back of the room being quiet, just observing everything. Like I mentioned in the first video, how she was just sitting back looking at everybody. She made eye contact with Tiana when she made that smirk. That's why in the first video, Courtney's mom is like, hey, stop telling everybody everything, just keep some stuff to yourself, because she noticed the smirk, but she didn't know, like, okay, was it a nervous laugh? Did she just think of something else? Did she think of the right thing to tell her so that would make her happy? But Courtney's mom is like, why in the hell did I see that little girl smiling and my daughter is on the verge of tears? So later on that week, Tiana takes time to open up her letters. She gets accepted into the school she wants to as well, especially the one that's in Georgia. So her mom is happy. Her mom is like, hey, I know you don't want no big party, but at least let's go out to dinner. Let's celebrate. They go out one-on-one. She's very happy. And she's even happier that her mom didn't suggest for Courtney to come with them. But her mom is thinking like, no, I just want it to be me and you. You didn't want a big shindig, so I'm not going to invite people. You have control of who you want to come. If you want her to come, you let her come. But I'm not going to bring up nobody. I just want to take you out and celebrate you. But Tiana's like, did you just not invite Courtney because she didn't get accepted into the school she wants? So you're just trying not to make her feel bad? Like, is this really one-on-one, or are you just trying not to rub it in Courtney's face? But of course, as we know from part 1, Courtney eventually gets into the school. So Tiana's happy, like, oh, good, you got into the school. I was so worried. But then she's also questioning, how in the world did you get into the school and I still have you in a jar in my freezer? So they graduate, they move. Tiana's in Georgia going to school. Courtney, of course, stayed in North Carolina to go to her dream school. They're still staying in contact at first. They're telling each other what's going on. Then one day, Tiana gets a call from Courtney. She's explaining everything that's going on. And then she hears Courtney say, oh yeah, so I met this guy. He's really, really nice. We've gone on a few days. He does this, he does that. He looks like this, blah, blah, blah. And Tiana's on the phone, of course, being happy. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Da, da, da. When they get off the phone, Tiana's like, I refuse for this girl to get married before me. I know she's not going to her dream school. Her first boyfriend is about to be her husband. She's going to marry her college sweetheart. No. Meanwhile, I'm having a horrible time at the school I'm at because I'm having a hard time making friends. And of course, I'm like, I wonder why, Tiana. But she's having a horrible time. Well, not a horrible time. She's not having as smooth of a time as Courtney seems to be, right? And mind you, when Tiana moved, she took that jar with her. So that jar is not in her dorm freezer. That's how passionate she was. She got it in that little tiny dorm freezer. So she was like, let me just see, will this work? So she heard the guy name that Courtney was talking about. She puts Courtney's name and the guy's name on a piece of paper, opened up the jar, and put that strip of paper in the jar and close it and place it back in the freezer. And then on Courtney's end, we know after she told Tiana what was going on, eventually over time the guy got real distant, didn't want to talk to her. They just didn't end up being together, right? So they're continuing on as friends. Courtney had no sign that Tiana was doing anything besides the subliminals that her mom was giving her, because Tiana was still presenting herself as a genuine friend. And Tiana said she was still having a good time talking to her. They would watch little shows together and talk about it after the shows go off. So she was still enjoying the friendship. She just felt some type of horrible satisfaction that things were going left, because in their next conversation, when Courtney was like, oh yeah, it didn't work out with the guy, Tiana's like, bingo. She didn't say that, of course, but she was thinking it. So now Courtney's applying for jobs. So the first job she applied for, she told Tiana. And what did Tiana do? The same thing she did with the dude. And wrote him on a sheet of paper. She got her little stuff that she added to the jar, put it in the jar, put it back in the freezer. She didn't get the job. So now Tiana's thinking, okay, boom, I'm on a roll. I got how it works now. We good to go. I'll stop this as soon as I feel like I'm starting to catch up and being on the same level again. Because she says her motive was to never keep her in the freezer. But as soon as she found a guy, as soon as she got her dream job, like basically being back on the same success level as Courtney, she was going to remove her from the freezer. So she says. So we know this is around the same time Courtney is realizing, like, okay, so let me stop telling Tiana stuff. Now on Tiana's end, she's having a shortage on strips to use to write out and put in the freezer. So that's why she's reaching out to Courtney like, hey, we need to talk. Well, I feel like we're becoming distant. She's running out of stuff to put in a jar, and she's not knowing what Courtney has going on. She don't know what she's up to. She could be a rocket scientist by now and she has no idea. And she could be behind, as she said. So when Courtney applied for the job that was the competition of the job that she didn't get, and she told Tiana afterwards, Tiana was pissed because she would have never allowed that to happen. She would have tried to stop it. So she's annoyed, like, so why didn't you tell me? You tell me everything else. Like, what's going on? She's presenting it as concern, like, oh, I don't want to lose my friend. But she's like, girl, you're getting ahead of me. Like, what are you doing? Like, I need to know what you're doing, so basically I could throw all this dreams and goals into a jar. And that's why in the conversation I mentioned before, Tiana was like, no, I need to know what's going on with you. And when Courtney said, why, so you could ruin it for me, Tiana felt guilty. That response was out of guilt. Oh, I guess I'm just a jinx. Courtney was like, yeah, you are. So even before that exchange took place, when they were meeting up to have that conversation, remember how I told you before, Tiana mentioned like, oh, you got a new car and I didn't even know that was your car. She was lying because she didn't know that was her car, because guess what? When she was walking up and she seen this BMW, she seen a sorority license plate and she automatically knew that's a sorority that Courtney wanted to get into. That's Courtney's car. Because what are the odds? It's parked right in front of the place we're going into. That's why Tiana was like, oh, you got a new car and I didn't even know you got a new car. Because guess what? She would have put that in the freezer too. It would have been a BMW logo in the freezer. So Tiana's getting annoyed because she's like, oh my gosh, this is just like high school. When Tiana's mom called and asked like, oh, so how's Courtney? When the last time you spoke to Courtney? Now she's starting to get annoyed with the questions, because before she was so happy to say, yeah, you remember that job she applied for? Oh, she didn't get it. Oh, remember that guy I was telling you about? She said she liked, oh, they stopped talking. Like, she was so happy to spread bad news, but now that her mom is continuously asking just to check in, she's like, I don't know, go ask her. And Tiana's more upset, or more jealous now, I guess we can say, because Courtney's thriving, doing her thing in college, and Tiana's experience wasn't the same in college. She wasn't doing well with her classes. She wasn't getting along with her professor. She wasn't getting along with the students. It just seems like everything was going wrong for her. So it was annoying, like you up here struggling, then you hear someone on the phone, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I passed this class. Like I said, her mom will call and check on her. And then in one conversation, she opens up to her mom. She breaks down crying. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm having such a bad time. This is my dream school, but this is not what I expected. And then Tiana's mom is like, you know what, baby? I know exactly what you could do. And Tiana's like, what, mom? I'm not moving back home. And Tiana's mom is like, no, I don't want you to move back home, but I do want you to come back home this weekend. And Tiana's like, okay, I could use a little reset. And then Tiana's mom is like, yes, I'll make sure you got everything you need here just so you could just have a peace of mind. And then Tiana's like, okay, I'll see you Friday night. And then Tiana's mom is like, but wait, can you do me a favor in the meantime for me? And then Tiana's like, what? And then her mom says, take that girl out that mother freezer. She's like, what are you talking about? And then her mom was like, girl, don't play stupid with me. Get that girl out that freezer and bring that with you. And then her mom hangs up. So Tiana's sitting there like, oh shit. Now, mind you, from the outside looking in, why did you think your mama, who's been doing this for years and years and years and years and years, and who's seen her mom do it for years and years and who's seen her mom do it for years and years, would not know that her daughter is doing her first real spell, and her spirit guides or whoever she talks to wouldn't give her a heads up or a nudge? Like, why did you think your root working mama would not see that? So Tiana goes home for the weekend. She nervous. She got the jar in her car. She's driving back. She's scared. She don't know what her mom is about to do. But all her mom did at first was sit her down and ask her, why did you do it? Why did you feel this was necessary? So Tiana began confessing, like, I know we're friends, but I feel like I'm always being compared to her. Then you started comparing me to her. Then everyone else is like, oh, Courtney gets this and Courtney gets that. And I feel like she was like out beating me and we were just going to separate anyway. So I thought she was going to go off and be better than me. And I still want to stay connected to her, but also have success as well. Like, I want people to speak of me how they speak of Courtney. So she was going down that rabbit hole. So first her mom said, hey, if you felt like I was comparing you to her to make you feel bad, that was not my intention. I just know how hard it is to make friends. So I was making sure I remind you how good of a friend she is to have around. She was like, I did not mean for that to make you feel less than. And she was like, I apologize for my part for making you feel like this is necessary. So Tiana's like, is this why I'm having a hard time? She was like, yes, you're living in the energy that you're creating for someone else that doesn't deserve it. And now that she's separating herself and you can't dictate your energy, that energy got to go to somewhere else. So it's going to go back to the person that sent it. So Tiana's like, I'm up here stopping my blessings because I'm trying to slow down her. So she has this like epiphany moment, and this is when she begins to feel bad. I'm like, yeah, okay, you feel bad that quick? Okay. And so Tiana's like, okay, mom, so like, what do I do to like undo this? And then her mom simply says, you have to give her power back. And Tiana's like, okay, how do I do that? And her mom is like, her mom cursed a lot. Like in the emails, the quotes are like very cursy. So I'm trying not to say verbatim what she said, but she basically like, yo, dumb knew how to do the spell, but your ignorant behind don't know how to give someone their power back. That's why you're foolish shouldn't have been doing this in the first place, because you get in situations that you can't handle. And then her mom told her, I did this spell for a client who had a husband that abused her, and you did the same spell to someone you called a friend. You give her power back, you need to tell her what you did. And her mom is grabbing the phone like, you about to call her right now, you about to tell her everything that you did. And Tiana's like, no, I can't do that. She's gonna look at me like, no. And then she's like, no, you're going to do it. So she calls Courtney's mom. Hey girl, have Courtney call my phone real quick. And Courtney's mom like, okay. So Courtney's mom calls Courtney, then Courtney calls Tiana mom. And so they sit down on the phone and Tiana's like, hey Courtney, you're gonna hate me after this, but I have to tell you something. And she gives the same speech she just gave to her mom. And she tells her everything that she did. So while Tiana is spilling everything that she did, Courtney is not interrupting. She's just sitting there listening. Of course, she's crying silently because she didn't know why she was having those random hiccups. And then she's kind of like, thank God for my mom, because my mom was right to stop telling you stuff. But she's still finding out like, damn, my friend from pre-K did this to me because she didn't want me to have successes in life, knowing how hard I worked for them. So once Tiana is done spilling everything, Courtney just says, all right, thank you. And she hangs up. And then Tiana mom is looking at her like, yeah, y'all ain't about to be friends no more, but we got to make sure we make this right. And so Tiana is crying, and now she's looking at her mom like, okay, so like, what do I do now? That didn't work. I gave her power back and she's still mad at me. Tiana's mom is like, all right, you gave her power back. Now you got to bless her. And then Tiana's like, she's not going to talk to me after this. Then Tiana's mom is like, you didn't tell her you were hexing her. You ain't got to tell her you about to bless her. Tiana mom walks to her ritual clientele working room. Tiana brings the jar. They open up the jar. Tiana moms does her whoom shwoom shwoom, add different things to reverse it, has a candle burning, and then she fills the jar with ocean water that she collects, and she closed the jar back. So once the candles burn down, Tiana comes back in town. They have to finish out the ritual now. Tiana mom has a certain location that she works with, so she just had her pour it out at a certain place where she does most of her rituals at, where she needs a lot of land. And then Tiana's mom took salt, sprinkled over the wet spot, and she sprinkled prosperity dust over it. They had their own little traditions and rituals that they do, but that's the overall gist of it. I can't tell you why she did certain things. She just does her workings and her clients are happy, so I'm sure she knows what she's doing. And I'm sure she knows what she's doing too, because Courtney is living well and thriving. Tiana is doing well as well, because of course she has to reap what she sent out. But once she realized what she did, she learned her lesson. Her life is adjusting as well, and she's doing pretty good for herself as well. But the two girls are not friends. The reason why we have this story is because Tiana's mom reached out. So Tiana's mom is the one that orchestrated the two girls to send their emails, but they still don't speak. That's why I did this in two separate videos, because there was no coming together. It's just from two different perspectives. But yeah, y'all, that is the story on how a girl hexed her best friend. Now this story is very specific, but if you had anything like this happen to you, let us know down below. How did you undo it? How did you feel about it? How did you realize it was being done to you? And what cautionary steps have you taken for any future friends you make? But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. And like I always say, as above so below, as within so without, as universe of the soul. Until next time, you guys, Ashe, baby. BlaqueWitchYaya.